Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. This is already week 4 in ITL 28. This class has flown by. I can't believe we're here already. But this is the last week of class, and we are talking about our lesson plan that we've been working on since week 1 in this class, the assessments that we used during it, and how we can improve next time. The lesson that I touched on throughout all my work in this class revolved around the sport of volleyball and how we can teach movement patterns in volleyball that can carry over to other physical sports and activities. So I started with my kids on teaching them how to perform a correct serve in volleyball. We basically started from ground zero, just throwing the ball up and catching it. And then we went from throwing it up to saying a verbal that represented when we would attack the ball to hit it over the net. Once they mastered that, we went on to actually hitting a serve to a non-moving target. This is a wall or a net, something of that nature. And then we would add a net, serve the ball over the net to no partner at all, just get it to bounce on the other side of the court in regulation size. Then we'd add a partner. And then as they progressed, we would start, teaching volleying skills, incorporating other people on the team. We'd go to 3-on-3 modified games, which was super helpful. And then lastly, we would, in the last 2 weeks of the unit, we played competitive games of volleyball where they were assessed summatively. So I guess, let's see. So some of the assessments I used. Okay, so I used exit tickets. They had to tell me, details about their serve, when they were most successful, at what height of the ball toss were they most successful in making good contact with it, and why. So that could be just a conversational, me walking around class, asking them questions on, hey, what are you feeling here? Or when you throw it this high, what do you feel as opposed to when you're more compact with it? These are good ways to get their minds flowing and to get them to reflect on how they can be better from trial to trial. Another thing that I did was I would group them in small groups of 3 or 4 or maybe 5. I'd have, I got a player on one end of the court, and I would ask each one to, give me 2 or 3 successful serves in a row before moving on and rotating those guys or those students out. So those are just some formative assessments that I would use, conversational type stuff. I'd actually test them on the physical aspect of the game as well. Not really test them. I think of it more as a quiz. And then also, more exit type tickets where, they could tell me something about, I would ask, why was it important for you to communicate with your teammates when the ball was served in your direction? So anything of that nature I use as a formative assessment. When it comes to summative assessment, it was towards the end. It was when they were ready to actually play a 6-on-6 game of volleyball. And that was kind of their formative assessment, was to just play a scrimmage type volleyball game, 6-on-6. Know the rules, know how to play with teammates, know how to respect and behave. All these elements. It's not just, I said in my other video, it's not just the physicality of it. It's the communication factor. It's the people skills factor of it. So that's kind of how I use the assessments. The adjustments that I would make, I should have done a better job of using data and all the assets from everybody that I knew, because I know my students very well, but maybe using their funds of knowledge a little bit better and breaking them up sooner in the process, because I ran into the problem of maybe student A didn't have the best body awareness and was in, station 2, that was the level of difficulty was a little bit too much for her. So I would see that some kids would get discouraged and almost feel self-conscious if they got, demoted to station 1 in our work group. So that's really the number one adjustment that I would make, is just have better feel of who they are and what their skill level is, and then just break them up sooner. That was my big thing, is just make these stations a little bit smoother, break them up a little sooner. Because the last thing I want as a teacher is I don't want to elicit self-esteem issues indirectly. I want the motivation to be there when these kids roll into my class. I want them to want to learn. I want them to want to participate. So that was my learning portion of this, is just break them up sooner, get them in groups based on ability level, and really try to be as accurate as I can on that. So you guys let me know what you think. I appreciate your time. Thank you for getting back to all my discussion posts in this class. I've learned a lot in ITL 528. It's one of my favorite courses that I've taken at National yet. So thank you.